So we're back out here in the shop. We're going to make these cross members, or these piece of angle iron, into our cross members. We'll figure out how to do some little kick rods down to here. You'll notice the frame rails look a lot prettier. Because I had to take out these 4 top rivets just to get the old cross member out, I took off the bottom ones too, took these off and cleaned everything out. I put some extra gusseting in here just because, and made everything look a little prettier. I got the bolts done in the back, so we're good. That's all bolted in. Everything's grade 8 hardware. These are, so it's 6 1/2-inch bolts up here, 4-inch 7/16 bolts in the back. Then I did these overriders too, or the overload spring with some, stripped them off, cleaned them up, and put them back on. The nice thing about doing that is I was able to get everything behind them cleaned up. The other thing that I did to this frame is I got out the needle scaler and I just rattled the whole thing. It needed it so bad. There's a lot of places on here that are not perfect by any means. I'm not worried about anything right now, but it definitely needed it. And then what I'm using on here for right now, or at least the first coat of this, is this Rust-Oleum 2-in-1 Rust Reform and Seal. So it comes out pretty nice, but with needle scaling it, that helps a lot. And then go through it with this stuff, and makes me feel better. So I got the 2 cross members sitting on here. I marked just used a paint marker to mark the center of the hole. Then I came over and found out where I wanted to drill out the 7/16 hole. So I have those center punched. We'll just take them into the mill and bore them. But we're looking pretty good. Feeling good about the frame. And then this is obviously the easiest part. The other part that we want to do is we want to add the kickers on each side that keep the frame from splaying that little bit. That we still have to design and get, and then we just need to put a piece of metal on the bottom side. These will go up underneath, but then down the center for the fuel tank to come up against, and also for the fuel tank strap to anchor to. Also, there was a muffler hanger that came off the original one. I don't know if we'll put that one on there or not. I'd cut out the muffler and we'll put a piece of straight pipe in there just to, why not? We're here. So, but yeah, let's drill these and we'll keep on going. Okay, so I got the holes drilled real quick, and I just got them in here lightly, but I measured or marked them correctly because they fit in the first time. So I did have to orient them with both angles like this. So because of the bolts, or the angle that's hanging down, it was interfering with the bolts if I had it the other way. It's kind of it's tight. But I don't mind having them both the same direction. Technically, this would be the way that everything, if anything came up and hit it, it's all open to the rear, which is a thing. The bottom plate and then the kicker. I'm going to use the old piece, or what's left of this is the old cross member. So I'm going to this side was the passenger side, so it's still intact somewhat. The driver's side, there really isn't anything left. But I laid this on the fuel tank itself, and it looks like it has exactly the same shape and would have been, everything matches. So I'm going to basically copy this angle to figure out that this is the flat, and this angle a little bit of when I need to break it, or when I need to start from the flat where the fuel tank rests to start the angle, so I can figure out where I want to bring things down into and how I want to mount them. I might weld them, so I have that gusset plate in there. I'm thinking that might be a nice thing to weld to, that way I'm not welding to the frame. It would technically be removable, but I would also make them so they bolted to these, because this piece is not, well, one, they are welded here. I thought it was a full, like, riveted on unit, but it is actually welded to the frame. So we cut that all off and ground that down. But in that same instance, you cannot remove this in one piece if you ever had to for some reason, like rust or whatever. These, I want to make them removable if we ever, for some weird reason, had to. I don't want it wedged in there where you got to cut it out just to get them out. So I'm going to create some gussets or something that's going to go down, and I'd like them to come up and just bolt in, and either weld them in or bolt them in on the bottom sides. So yeah, we'll just find some scrap iron around here and start figuring out. That side won't matter. This is the only side that the angle, I only have so much room to work with because of the fuel tank. That side, it could be whatever it wants, for the simple fact that there's nothing over there. It's just the exhaust that's running underneath it, and it is never close to it. So that one won't be a problem. It's just this side I'd like to just get a little bit of support in. Originally, it only came to about halfway and went up. We might go down further, we might not. It depends on what I got for material that I find and how I do it, how I like it, and we'll go from there. The other thing that I want to make sure that I do is I want to put some kickers on it. I do not want to put a full thing like this up against the frame, because then this pocket here will hold that dirt and salt and crap and everything else and rust out the frame more than it already is, or whatever else, because that's why it was eating away at it, because it had so much stuff stuck in there. So the ATV jack, just to kick the fuel tank up, and because of the way the original bracket riveted out here, but then it got narrower towards the inside, and it just, these brackets are not working out the way that I wanted to. I could probably start trimming them and cutting them and everything else. But the other thing that this is that one used to come up, as well as this is a flatbed. I have like 4 inches in here that I don't even have to worry about anything. So I'm kind of wondering of setting them on top. The only reason why I would originally thought of not doing it this way was because I didn't want the fuel tank to have to come up so high. But I think I can make the cradle very easily and get the fuel tank where I want it a lot easier than trying to mount these underneath and all that kind of stuff, because then I can have it up like that. It's already in the front mount there pretty good. So this is pretty close to where I want it. I'm kind of referencing the other one that I got sitting over there as to how high I really want this. When it all comes down to it, it doesn't really matter. You know, I could have the whole thing sit lower. I could have it sit all a little higher, as long as it sits front and rear and side to side correctly, for the simple fact that front and rear, we got, you know, the axle going up and down the rear. We don't want to get into that. Fuel lines, obviously. And then as far as left and right, we don't want it rubbing on the frame, and we don't want it into the drive shaft, as, you know, just kind of all the normal stuff. But it looks pretty good there. And then we also have to give ourselves enough room for the ring that goes on here to make sure that we can get this on and off. And if this was around, it was going to get very challenging. But so I think I'm going to change my plan here a little bit, and I think we're just going to go with this. The other thing of having the fuel tank in here like this, I can make this cradle. I can figure out exactly where I want the fuel strap plate. I got a chunk of steel that I'm probably just going to weld in on the bottom side between these. Yeah, I don't think I'll bolt it in. But if I weld it in, drill the hole for the tank strap. That's around here somewhere. So here's the tank strap. This goes underneath the tank like that. This comes up and bolts through the frame. This comes up and bolts to there. So I guess that would be something just to make sure that we don't have to put spacers in there. But all in all, it's really not going to be that big of a deal. As long as it straps the tank in, we should be good. You can see in here where it was getting thin, or the cradle was so rusted out, it was starting to get sharp edges and starting to wear. Thankfully that this is just a protective shield. Thankfully it was there because it did not touch the tank. So we are good with that. So I'll show you here what I did. There's this access hole right here. I was able to stick that in there, and then I was able to go off of that little piece of that hinge there, which was enough to get it in. And now the front of the fuel tank is where it belongs. This red wire here, I got to pull that out. That was for the air compressor for the airbag system. My savior. I found, I got this at Home Depot one day. It was the fan with a battery, or two batteries? One or two batteries, and the charger for $100. I should have bought two of them. I used to have some property up north in northern Minnesota that was off-grid, and I did a container cabin type thing, but in the wintertime when I'd be up there to blow the warm air from the boxwood stove around, that was a lifesaver. So you can see what I was fighting here, trying to get that in there along that line, but it's in there, it's good. Okay, so I got these pieces. These are the old outriggers from the camper that they used to go on the frame. But this end piece is kind of a nice little piece, super strong because of the double bend in it. So what I did is I drilled out the end. I took a little bit of a wedge out here so I could bend this down to give it an angle. And you can see right here. And so what I'm going to do is I already got one that I kind of mocked up, and it's going to work pretty slick. So what it is you can see I took out, this used to come straight here. This used to be straight. So I cut back in here, bent this down, then cut that to match. I'll weld this up. And then what I did is, so this will be up against the frame, and this hits the bottom of that bracket. Now what I'm going to do, because this bolt puts it centered on the piece of angle iron that goes across. So I can't do it off to one side or not, so it'll go underneath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld these on the bottom of those brackets. The difference of why I'm going to weld them on though is, well, welding them, one will be on one stringer and one will be on the other. So they will both be separated. So when you need to take this off, if this is all one piece, you can take off the bolt on the other frame rail and slide the whole thing up and out. And the same for the other side, just the opposite direction. So that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, so I already got this one ready to be cut, and that's pretty much where that goes. And I'm cutting this one just a touch long because I'd like a little bit more angle out of it. So I didn't bend this quite as steep, but this is going to work perfect. And because it has this flat surface that comes right up against the side of the tank, which will be nice because it keeps the tank from shifting towards the frame at all. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for that as well. But yeah, let's get this cut, and then we can get them welded, mocked up, tacked, and then installed. Then all we have to do is worry about the tank mounting. Okay, we'll see how this mounts in here. It's going to go pretty. So let's remove the bolt in question down in here. That's the top one, not the second one. Actually, we can leave the bolt in, we just need the nut off and the washer off. Here we go. So we might need to cut a little bit more off of here and change this angle a little bit. I kind of guessed on the other one that I had as to what it was going to be. But yeah, I think we'll just, I think if we just take it off there, we'll have to cut the wedge out of here, and then we'll be good. Come on, fit the way we want it to. So here's kind of the funny thing about this is you can't necessarily base something off of one side and then try to use it on another side, because it's not going to sit underneath it, which isn't a horrible thing, but it's not quite. I think I can weld it just like that. That should be good. If you know, I don't know if you can see it down in here, I did cut that angle off of it just so it can't hold anything up against the frame. So I think what we're going to do is just scuff that up a little bit so we can put a tack on it, and then we'll take it out to weld it, because I don't want to. I don't want to try to finish weld it here in the against the fuel tank. Granted, it's diesel fuel, and it is a lot harder. So let me throw some tacks on that real quick. Okay, that's that one. So you can see how this one kind of fits centered. There, just some good tacks. A little bit more on this one. And now we can pull this up and out. Hopefully. Perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. There's our bar. Then the other one will look basically the same, just opposite. So we will set these up here and burn them in real good. So it's not going to actually come in contact with the tank here. There's a little bit of space, but maybe we'll figure out something. I got some old Hyfax off of a snowmobile that we might be able to use that, and then it'll be plastic on plastic and even extra good. Come on. Fuel, or the wiring harness was in the way. We just pull it out. Oh, this one's a little tight. I just gotta take the bolt out. And like that. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't live in the snowmobile areas of the world, this is a short chunk of Hyfax. The aluminum rails of a snowmobile slide into that groove, and then the track, the rubber and the metal clips glide on this with snow and everything to lubricate this. But this keeps you from being metal on metal. So it's a sacrificial piece of plastic. Usually it lasts 1,000 miles or a couple thousand miles. But what I'm thinking is, because it's plastic and everything else, for up against the fuel tank to add us some support, this thing's still ripping hot. But of putting this thing in here like this, just bolting it on there, and we got this groove, so even if we screw it in there, it's not going to contact the fuel tank. So I'm going to drill a couple of holes and I'm going to cut this off a little bit. Hacksaw works good. You can get this if you happen to want any of these for anything else and you're not in the snowmobile region, or if you are in the snowmobile region but you don't snowmobile, talk to friends or even develop a friendship with the snowmobile shop. But you can, these things, I think this one was like 15 bucks and it was 5 or 6 feet long. So let me see here, 53 3/4 inches long, and it was like 15 bucks. And you can get them in every color of the rainbow because everybody likes color. But yeah, so if you're looking for anything like that, now you got an idea of something. So this one I think we can slide in and bolt in. Now I'm not going to quite, I was getting ready to put the lock washers in and get this thing bolted in 100%, but we still do have the tank strap piece of it. So that'll come in a minute, but starting to feel like I know what I'm doing with fabricating, because that turned out pretty freaking cool. Yeah, so here's where I bent it. We got just this, it's a little bit of a curve in there, but I think that kind of looks awesome like that, and it gives us plenty of room over here. So I'm going to clean up this I'm going to clean up this edge just to make sure that all this slag isn't trying to dig into the fuel tank. But yeah, then I think we can figure out how to make some brackets that come down on here. I wouldn't mind them bolting on, but we'll see what we can do. So we want this piece to be boltable. It has to have a hole over here that that thing's going to come up into. So we're getting set up for that. I have the tank strap partially put on. You can see it down here, that's where it comes up and is bolted through the frame. But in knowing that everything is going to be bolted on, I said screw it, and I got these all tightened up. So we're tight there, there. I caved. I used self-tappers. I just cut the heads off them. But you can see that piece of Hyfax in there. And it still leaves a little bit to the tank, but you can see that there's a kind of a gap down there. I don't know if you can see my hand. Oh, there we go. You can see my fingers wiggling. So this can kind of come over and stuff a little bit into that, but it won't let it go too far. So I got the fuel filler back in. I removed the jack and I threw a ratchet strap around it to hold up the fuel tank and the strap. So that was the hole that we're aiming for. I had that piece of iron in there, and I had some pieces of angle iron. So I quick threw them on there to make this mount. So this hole here, you can kind of see there's that hole. That's going to be the bolt that's going to come all the way up from the tank strap, and it has this little bit of accessory on it. And then this is just another one. What I'm going to do is, as much as I would love to drill more holes, not really, I'm going to put this into, that's hot right now, I just painted it after welding it, but I'm going to pop it on here. Those brackets are going to be here and here. I'm going to take these grind it off where they're going to go, and I'm going to tack them. I'm going to take out this bar, and I'm going to weld it to this bar. Now this bar, I'm okay with that doing, because I have to take out this side and that side to slide it this way if I want to take this bracket out. Well, that bracket only comes to like here. I'm going to have plenty of room to take this whole bracket this way and then up and out. This side is a little different. It's not going to be attached to this side at all. It's only going to be attached to this side, as well as it's already tight on this strap anyway. So this is more of a vibration thing, and to help it out, because it's already wedged up against this tank, and it'll tighten it up. We are getting ready to set this bed down. You can see I got all the air lines run, and I got my bracket installed and just welded to this cross brace because I can take that all off. But we have the body sitting back down the truck. The only problem we got here is, if you notice, this gap looks a little big. I knew it was going to be close, I just didn't think it was going to be quite this close. I need to go back about 2 inches, and that trailer hitch is right up against that license plate bracket or whatever. Other than that, we got it all on. I plumbed in the air lines real quick. So I'm just going to use the plasma cutter and cut a notch in this. Call it good. I was able to put in, the plug that was back here was broken, so I moved it up into there, hooked it all up, so there will be just one wire, I believe, for reverse lights that didn't come to that 7-way plug, which is kind of weird, or it's something else. I'm not quite sure, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a new female plug for back here, a female plug for in the hitch box, and then it'll be that wiring, the wiring for back here, and this bed wiring will all go into one male plug if everything works correctly, or they'll all be linked together. So I can just plug that in to the 7-way that I have now installed in this thing, and then all I have to do to take this bed off if I want to is one wire, which is actually this wire right here. That'll just have a connection underneath there, and then undo the 7-way, and then the bed can come off. No harm, no foul. So there are still some things that we have to do underneath, possibly later on. So that'll make it easy to get this on and off. And all the bolts will be fresh, so life will be pretty good. But I'm going to burn that in, slide this forward a little bit, and call it good. But everything worked out pretty good here. We'll try an interesting view here. We're going to lower her down with you watching. There, got a little hung up on the trailer hitch to trailer hitch there. There we go, cleared that part of it. Back is lined up, coming down. Front is lined up, coming down. How are we doing what you guys are watching? Oh, look at that trailer hitch slide into position. But other than bolting it on, we are back to kind of zero with this truck. We just got to finish up a little exhaust pipe adapter, because That's still swinging in the breeze, but we put it. I found an extension pipe I had around. It just wasn't quite long enough. Put the bolts in the bracket. Hook up some wiring. And we should be good. Tell me what you think. Thanks for watching.